Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, Finance Minister says current hardship over new Naira notes temporary as CBN directs banks to pay currency over the counter. Two-story building collapses in Abuja, many trapped. Minister recants, says President Buhari supports Bola Tinubu. And on the foreign scene, Pope Francis urges African youths to shun ethnic rivalry and corruption. Hello and welcome to News Hour. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. The Central Bank of Nigeria has directed deposit money banks to commence payment of the redesigned Naira notes over the counter, subject to a maximum daily payout limit of 20,000 Naira. The directive is coming on the heels of businesses grinding to a halt over the scarcity of redesigned notes. The statement, which was signed by the Director Corporate Communication, Osita Nwanisobi, said the CBN observed with grave concern the activities of persons who sell the newly redesigned banknotes and those who flagrantly abuse the legal tender by hurling wads of Naira notes in the air and stamping on the currency at social functions. The CBN reiterated its commitment to Nigerians to ensure the effective distribution of the newly introduced Naira banknotes, urging them to exercise patience as the CBN is working to address the challenges of queues at ATMs. Nwanisobi said the CBN is collaborating with the Nigerian Police, Federal Inland Revenue Service, and Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Units to address unpatriotic practice. Similarly, the Kaduna State Police has arrested security personnel attached to a commercial bank for allegedly trading the new Naira notes. The Command Public Relations Officer, DSP Muhammad Jalige, made this known while parading the suspects at the command's headquarters in Abuja. The report.
Parading the suspect on behalf of the Police Commissioner Yakini Ayoku, the PPRO said two redesigned Naira note hawkers were arrested with different denominations of both old and the new currency.
DPO Sabon Garizaria led his patrol team to Daddy Park, Sabon Garizaria, where they raided and arrested two currency hawkers, namely Talhatu Yusuf, M32 years, and Mohammed Kabir, 18 years. All of same Samu Rosaria, and recovered different denominations of both old and redesigned Naira notes from them. One Thomas Tokan, M of Hanwa area, who is a security personnel attached to Stanbic IBTC Bank, PZ branch, was also arrested at the bank premises selling the redesigned Naira notes.
Also paraded were three women and a man in connection with the missing of a 6-year-old child who was allegedly sold at the sum of 100,000 Naira.
The command received a report that one Hajara Ashiru, F, 6 years old, was missing, and the command immediately mobilized operatives, swung into action, and one Safia Ilyasu, female of 32 years old, who is a neighbor to the parents of the missing child, was arrested. During the course of investigation, the following suspects were equally arrested. Hussein Adamu, 45 years old, of High Malambello; Rukaya Abubakar, 32 years old, of Trikania Quarters, Kaduna, in connection to the disappearance of the 6-year-old child. The victim was rescued on hot after having been sold for the sum of 100,000 Naira.
Items recovered from the suspect include AK-47 rifle, cash, and mobile phones. While commending the force for working tirelessly to rid the state of criminal activities, the commissioner called on residents to support the police by reporting suspicious activities, as security is everyone's business. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Nigerians have continued to lament the scarcity of the new Naira notes and the cash withdrawal limit, saying the policy is capable of worsening the economic and security challenges facing the country. Many commercial activities have been grounded as a result of the scarcity of the new Naira notes and the continuous rejection of old ones by the public ahead of the February 10th dateline. Salis Lawang has the report.
The cashless policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria has brought untold hardship to many Nigerians who now sleep at ATM point in order to access cash. These respondents told Trust TV the challenges they encountered before accessing cash, despite spending more than 24 hours on queues.
Kasance a wannan waje tun karfe 5 na asuba, kuma har yanzu ni ban samu namba na ba, balatana ma a ce layi na yazo.
I've been here since 5 a.m., but up to this moment, I've not been issued a number, let alone joining the queue. Because the rule here is that you must have a number first before joining the queue. I just need some cash to run my family.
Muna can wala saboda yanzu hakan nan ko da abincinka ne ya gare a gida, even 5,000 zaka nema sai ka ci wala ta ka zo ka bi layi ko mara lafiya kake da shi.
We are facing a lot of problems. It is terrible because you have money but cannot access it. What type of policy is that? If, for instance, you run out of foodstuffs or come down with any health challenge, how will you address that?
Gaskiya na kwana tun jiya da daddare karfe 10 na zo banki har yanzu misalin karfe 2:09 gaba ɗaya kuɗin da na samu naira 25,000.
It was a major struggle before I was able to withdraw money. Some stakeholders criticized President Buhari-led government over the policy, saying it was deliberately designed to cut the chances of opposition political parties in accessing cash. Adamawa State SDP gubernatorial candidate Umar Ardo, in an exclusive interview with Trust TV in Yola, also alleged that despite the law imposed on Nigerians on the cash withdrawal limits by the Central Bank of Nigeria, candidates of the ruling party have easy access to cash to run their campaigns.
This is a deliberate policy by the APC administration to destroy opposition and make it impossible for the opposition to prosecute campaign that will unseat them. And I believe very strongly that because the APC government has failed, it doesn't want an opposition to take over from it. Perchance the opposition is going to open up against the atrocities it committed while in office. So it wants to return to power, hook or crook, and by so with this intention, they have deliberately created this bottleneck to make sure that oppositions don't get it.
They described the cashless policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria at this period as a calculated plan geared toward worsening the economic development of Nigeria, which according to them is capable of fueling insecurity. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
Moving to politics, presidential candidates, the federal government says the current hardship Nigerians are experiencing while trying to get the new Naira notes is a temporary situation that is needed for the country's economic growth. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed said this on Thursday while briefing newsmen at State House in Abuja. Kehinde Amodu reports.
Scenes of Nigerians on lengthy queues struggling to access new Naira notes have become a worrying but familiar sight in the last week. Most citizens believe the federal government is aloof to the suffering of the people, but the Minister of Finance says this is far from the truth. She's, however, describing the development as transient pain, but a necessary and appropriate policy at this moment to combat corruption. Despite the economic hardships, the Finance Minister is quick to point out that the challenges faced by citizens are not peculiar to Nigeria, as the entire global economy is in shock.
Like most economies across the world, the Nigerian economy is challenged on many fronts. Factors impacting the current economic situation are driven by an interplay of external as well as internal causes, which are manifesting in several ways. So there's a narrowed fiscal space due to lower than anticipated oil revenues and continued expenditure on fuel subsidy. There's also high inflation due to higher fuel prices, rising food import prices, as well as the impact on transportation costs, amongst other factors.
The minister says despite the challenges, her ministry has been able to achieve a lot from the 40 deliverables assigned to it by President Buhari.
So the real GDP growth was surprisingly strong in the third quarter of 2023 due to higher private consumption and investments, easing of supply chain bottlenecks, and declining transportation costs. Global inflation is projected to fall to 8.8% in 2022 and to 6.6% in 2023, and then further down to 4.3% in 2024.
She listed the achievements to include an increase in the non-oil revenue share of total federal government revenues from 30 to 73%, the introduction of the Annual Finance Act, and the launching of the Road Infrastructure Development and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Now moving to politics, presidential candidate of the New Nigerian People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, has accused the CBN of punishing ordinary Nigerians with the Naira redesign policy. Speaking on Sunrise Daily, a Channels TV program on Thursday, Kwankwaso said the rich could not be affected by the policy because they own the banks. Kwankwaso said politicians, particularly the presidential candidates, either had controlling shares in the banks or have friends who can help them mobilize whatever amount of money they needed. The Apex Bank announced the Naira redesign policy in October 2022, and new 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes became a legal tender on 15 December 2022. However, it has been difficult to access the new Naira notes, forcing the CBN to adjust the January 31st deadline for the old notes to serve as legal tender. On a sad note, a three-story commercial complex under construction in the Gwarimpa district of the Federal Capital Territory on Thursday afternoon collapsed, trapping over 50 persons. Emergency response teams dispatched to the area said rescue is still ongoing and will continue till the last victim is out. According to officials, one person is feared dead, while about 20 persons have been so far rescued. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu reports.
It's a sad day for the families of victims trapped under the rubble of a three-story commercial complex construction site.
A lot of people come work today because we are even lacking some workers like that. So a lot of people come today. We have people that are packing blocks. We have people that are serving us. We have Mercy, where we they work. So really, we measure sand finish, we start our work. So me, I just come on, I just went out small, make I buy something. So before I know, I hear shout, "Quick!" But see where are they? I don't even go my way coming. I see this building is going down. It just go down automatically.
I was in the market when I got the call about the building collapse and my other brother is trapped in there.
Eyewitnesses say the area where the collapsed building is located has always been known to be a reserved green area, but upon construction, the building was rushed and erected in a short period of time.
When we were working on this building now was raised under 6 months. Before this building has collapsed, every day yes, they build it under 6 months.
Although emergency and safety agencies are working on rescuing the victims trapped under the rubble, building regulatory bodies say investigation will commence immediately to ascertain both the remote and immediate causes of the incident.
You can see what the struggle we are making. The crane is working, all security agencies are around, and other good Samaritans are also around to give a helping hand to see that those who are trapped inside have been rescued.
In this kind of operation, it's usually multi-agency, multi-stakeholders operation. That is why you can find fire here, police, civil defense, road safety, and even some construction companies, because no one agency has all the equipment that is needed to perform this kind of complex operation.
For us to start operating them now, we are going to be distracted in the operation of saving lives. However, at the end of everything, at the end of the exercise, all of this area is going to be subjected to what we call integrity tests to make sure all the buildings that are around this area are sound. If it is not that sound, we now stop whatever development is there. If it is so that we bring it down, we bring it down.
Officials assure other residents of their safety, noting that the victims, especially those reportedly trapped under the rubble, would be rescued and stabilized accordingly. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Thank you so much, Aisha, for that report. Moving on, Information Minister Lai Mohammed says President Muhammadu Buhari is in total support of the APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu, contrary to some claims in some quarters. The minister made clarifications on the purported rift between the presidency and the APC Presidential Campaign Council ahead of the 25th February election. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
There has been deepening suspicion in the camp of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, with top party chieftains alleging sabotage from elements within the presidency. But the presidency has consistently denied such claims, maintaining a posture of ensuring a level playing field for all contestants, irrespective of political party affiliation.
It is preposterous to even suggest that Mr. President, who is the leader of our party, is equivocating on his support for a presidential candidate.
Presenting his ministry scorecard, Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema painted the picture of a country finding its footings in the global politics, diplomacy and economy while maintaining Africa as its diplomatic centerpiece. He also shares concerns on treatment meted against Nigerians in diaspora.
If there's one thing that I look back on with the greatest regret in my 7.5 years in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it is the situation of Nigerians in foreign countries, in foreign prisons, and having to go and evacuate Nigerians from the middle of the desert. And I went to Libya, I actually shed tears.
The minister parried media inquiries on the impact of unprecedented number of presidential foreign trips on Nigeria's image and economy, amongst others. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Still talking politics, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, on Thursday took his campaign to Osogbo, capital of Osun State, where he assured youths of employment opportunities. Tinubu also assured students of public universities and other higher institutions of learning that they will no longer experience long strikes by the Academic Staff Union of Universities or any other union in the education sector. The APC candidate said he will set up industries to create jobs for young Nigerians. Minister of Interior and former governor of the state, Rauf Aregbesola, was absent at the event where APC leaders in the state said Nigerians will benefit a lot if Tinubu becomes president.
Well, our own in Osun is a double take, very double take. As well, is our cousin. So we expect much. He did well in Lagos. He's going to do well in Nigeria. We are going to benefit federal institutions, agencies, and Federal Medical Center. We are going to get a lot of industries to come to Osun. We are going to open up Osun to industrialization through the Central Bank, through the Bank of Industry, and through the Directorate of Youth Employment.
I want every citizen of Osun to vote en masse for Jagaban, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to be the president of Nigeria come February 25. And we are going to benefit.
The expectation of the party from our people is to come out in large numbers on the 26th of February and cast their votes for a presidential candidate. We are campaigning for him because of his track record, because of his demonstrated capacity in leadership, because of his ability to be able to mobilize the people of this country and all other resources available in this country for the development of this country.
The Supreme Court on Thursday reaffirmed Laila Buhari as Kano Central Senatorial candidate of the People's Democratic Party. The appeal court had earlier affirmed Laila Buhari, nullifying the election of Lamburam Nuhu. The Apex Court, in a lead judgment read by Justice Muhammad Lawal Garba, dismissed all the grounds of appeal by the appellant Nuhu. Justice Garba was in sync with Justice Kudirat Kekereakun, Justice Saulawa, Justice Ibrahim Jauro, and Justice Emmanuel Agim. Similarly, the Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal by the People's Democratic Party seeking to restore the nullification of the participation of Osun's ex-governor Boyega Oyetola and his deputy Benedict Alabi in the July 16, 2022 governorship election. A five-member panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice Sentus Nweze on Thursday, held that the appeal by the PDP lacked merit and directed the counsel to the PDP, Kehinde Ogunwumiju, to withdraw it. The court held that the PDP could not, under the law, question the process leading to the emergence of Oyetola and Alabi as candidates of the APC in the election. Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja had, in a judgment on September 30, 2022, nullified the participation of Oyetola and Alabi in the governorship election on the grounds that their nomination forms were endorsed by an acting chairman of the APC who was also a serving governor of Yobe State, Mai Mala Buni. Justice Nwite's judgment was set aside by the Court of Appeal, Abuja, in a judgment in December last year, a decision the PDP appealed to the Supreme Court. Moving to security, troops of one mechanized division of the Nigerian Army on Thursday rescued 30 people who were kidnapped by bandits in the Birnin-Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. According to a statement by the acting Deputy Director of Army Public Relations of 1 Mechanized Division, Lieutenant Colonel Musa Yahaya, the troops engaged the bandits who were kidnapping commuters at Manini village along the Kaduna-Birnin-Gwari road. The troops who were escorting the Chief of Defense Training and Operations, Major General Say Udonwa, who was on operational visits to Operation World Punch headquarters in Birnin-Gwari, overpowered the bandits during a gun duel and forced the criminals to withdraw in disarray. During the encounter, the troops rescued 30 kidnapped victims, recovered 2 motorcycles, and immediately cleared the highway for the free flow of vehicular traffic. The rescued victims were escorted to Udawa and Birnin-Gwari to continue their journey. Parents of the remaining 4 pupils abducted from the local government education authority primary school Alwaza in Doma local government area of Nasarawa State are appealing to the state government and security agencies to do everything within their powers to ensure the release of the 4 pupils unhurt. Trust TV had reported that gunmen invaded the school and abducted 6 of the pupils to an unknown destination, but the police and other sister agencies were able to rescue 2 of the pupils. The report.
Following the release of 2 out of the 6 kidnapped pupils, the remaining 4 have remained with their captors, leaving their parents in agony. They are, however, positive that the efforts of law enforcement agencies would be fruitful in no distant future to ensure the release of their children and urge them to intensify search efforts.
When I was coming from farm, I heard that my children was kidnapped here in primary school in Alwaza here. I was very disturbed, and I even ran to the bush. I could not find them. I could not find them together with some army and policemen. And immediately the state government complied. They came to the school and confirmed what is happening. But I am appealing to the state government and pleading them to help me and confirm and verify and look for where these children are and bring them.
What happened to my boy yesterday? who sleep night, has to wake up morning. The two boys was playing with their father on top the bed. I tell their father to pursue them outside so that they go to school. I saw me with my boy day yesterday, nothing happened to my boy. And I saw my mother-in-law, she was crying. She said Dominion was lost in his school. I said, what happened to my boy? Since yesterday, I with my husband, we cannot eat, we cannot drink. Please, we are begging people to save our life.
The Arzen Alwaza, who spoke through the Serkin Dawaki of Alwaza community, Ayuba Jato, described the incident as unfortunate and pledged to support security persons in their quest to rescue the remaining pupils.
It was yesterday in the morning, around 8:15 in the morning, when the pupils were in the school. We saw them running, coming home. They reported to us that unknown gunmen entered the school with 3 new Bajak. They veiled their faces with masks. So as they were threatening them, some of the teachers, they flew away, including the children. So the kidnappers caught 6 people out of the population. Up to now, we tried in order to see where they are. We are yet to hear information. And we even thank the Nasarawa state government for coming to our aid.
Meanwhile, a top military officer who pleaded anonymity told Trust TV that efforts have been intensified by 4 Special Forces Command, Doma Barracks, to ensure that the remaining 4 pupils are rescued unhurt.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Why calls are growing for expansion of restrictive abortion law in Nigeria. Do stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
At last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. It's still News Hour on Trust TV. A recap of our top stories. You heard that Finance Minister says current hardship over new Naira notes temporary as CBN directs banks to pay currency over the counter. You also heard that two-story building collapses in Abuja, many trapped. Moving to more stories, the Central Bank of Nigeria has deployed monitoring teams, including personnel of the EFCC, to checkmate activities of commercial banks, money agents and POS operators in Gombe State. According to a deputy director at the Central Bank, who is a member of the CBN team deployed to Gombe State, Ahmed Barrow, the move to collaborate with the EFCC is to clamp down on any commercial bank, agents or POS operators hoarding the redesigned Naira notes in the States.
Not right. It's totally. It's not right at all. It's not. It's not right. And I think if we get to get hold of such POS, I think they will regret their action. Really.
We learned that you're also moving with FCC official. Why?
It was a directive that was given when the governor of the central bank addressed the press the other day. But he specifically made mention that EFCC will join the team. Not just EFCC, even the NFI, that is the Financial Intelligence Unit, will also join us. Even the ICPC, that is the Independent Corrupt Practice and Related Offences Commission, will also join us. So we're expecting them. If EFCC has actually joined, so we are also expecting those two. But it's not really surprising because the EFCC is an Economic Financial Crime Commission. So, and they are really very critical in this our process.
As lack of the new Naira notes continue to hit hard on Katsina residents, the Central Bank of Nigeria is paying unscheduled visits to commercial banks in the state. The monitoring is aimed at ensuring that all commercial banks comply with the Apex Bank's directives on the redesigned Naira notes and its distribution. Abdullahi Ahmadi reports that the monitoring team was led by an assistant director of the CBN, Amina Adamu. His report.
The monitoring and enforcement team seeks to find out how much of the new notes was issued to the commercial banks and how it was dispensed to customers. The team also took time to finding out how much was loaded in various automated teller machines, ATMs.
We embark on spot checks and cash swaps. In Katsina State, we have 34 local government areas, but only 8 local government areas are covered by the DMBs. So there's need for us to ensure we reach out to the citizens of the state by carrying out this cash swap.
The Apex Bank is concerned about the alleged diversion of the new notes and the plight of petty traders, especially in rural communities across Katsina State. The team leader, Amina Adamu, said the Apex Bank will not accept anything from commercial banks short of total compliance to CBN directives, considering the hardship being experienced by Nigerians.
We also embark on monitoring of the DMBs to ensure that their ATMs are functional and functioning at all times. Well, so far so good. We have covered some banks, DMBs within the Katsina metropolis, and some ATMs that were not functioning were loaded at our instance, and we ensured full compliance. So we have not encountered any breach so far.
Officials of EFCC, ICPC formed part of the CBN monitoring team on a visit to Katsina State amidst heightened new Naira note shortage across the country. While economists admitted that the Naira redesign policy is good for the economy, they however observed loopholes and gaps which have negatively affected the daily lives of millions across the country. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has arrested one Omoshain Oluwadarasimi Esther for allegedly offering to sell the new Naira notes. The arrest followed an intelligence received by the agency. A statement from the agency said Esther, a social media serial entrepreneur who deals in skincare, sales of fuel, facilitation of foreign travels through visa acquisitions and other businesses, seized the opportunity of the scarcity of the new Naira notes to openly market the new notes. The agency said she is in collusion with key elements in the financial services sector, diverting newly released notes away from banking halls and payment channels into a black market. She is currently in ICPC detention and is helping the commission with its findings on the criminal trading of the Naira and the attendant scarcity and negative economic outcomes being caused by the action. Nigerians are worried over restrictive law on abortion in the country, resulting into rampant unsafe abortions among young girls and women. In most cases, many of these girls and women die in the hands of quacks who secretly terminate their unwanted pregnancies. Hamid Oyegbade reports.
The World Health Organization says 6 out of 10 of all unintended pregnancies end in an induced abortion. Abortion in Nigeria is punishable as offenders are liable to 14 years imprisonment. The country's law allows abortion only when the life of a pregnant woman is in danger. As a result of this restriction, young girls and women in the country end up patronizing quacks for clandestine abortion services that are more often than not carried out in an unsafe manner. The WHO says around 45% of all abortions are unsafe. Of that number, WHO says 97% takes place in the developing countries, noting that unsafe abortion is a leading cause of maternal death and morbidities.
Abortion is not 100% outlawed in Nigeria. The government believes that when the life of a mother is at risk or is in danger by the continuous existence of a pregnancy, then such a pregnancy must be aborted.
Concerned Nigerians called on the legislative and executive arms of government to work towards expanding abortion laws in Nigeria to prevent avoidable deaths from unsafe abortions in the country.
I think that it's high time that the federal government review the laws around abortion because whether we like it or not, people are carrying out abortions by themselves. They are risking their lives.
This thing can stop. What do we need to do? To allow our system provide, for women who, due to incest, due to rape, due to other things that are not their faults, become pregnant. And if they don't want to keep these children or these pregnancies, they should have access to good health care that will take care of these pregnancies.
They believe that an expansion of the abortion law in Nigeria will enable girls and women to access safe abortion and guarantee their sexual reproductive health rights. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
Moving to health, 2 persons have died from Lassa fever in Edo, raising the fatality figure in the state to 16. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Korea Obehi, who disclosed this while briefing journalists in Benin City on Wednesday, said Edo recorded 7 more confirmed cases of Lassa fever. According to her, the total number of confirmed cases in the state now stands at 132. She stated that most of the deaths recorded in the state are persons who are unwell and failed to report to a proper hospital for care until they developed complications. Obehi urged residents of the state to take responsibility to work with the Ministry of Health, observe preventive measures, and report early symptoms suspected to be malaria or any other illness that presents likened to malaria so as to receive proper care. The local government areas most affected by the virus include Esako West, Ishan West and Ishan Northeast, with 51, 34 and 27 confirmed cases respectively. An expert in agriculture has advised farmers, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, to plant early maturing seeds to mitigate early cessation of rainfall this year. The expert, Professor Muhammad Fuguji, who is also the Executive Director, Institute of Agricultural Research, Zaria, made the assertion during an interaction with newsmen on Nigerian Meteorological Agency weather prediction for 2023 in Zaria. NIMET had predicted earlier a long-term average rainfall onset dates for 2023, which experts say will hamper harvest this year. Professor Fuguji warned farmers, especially in the northern parts of the country, to start looking for drought-tolerant crops as part of measures for the early cessation of rainfall. The executive director described NIMET's prediction on the normal cessation of rainfall as good news because the rainy season will cease at the time farmers are used to.
In 30th of September, in most cases. So according to their prediction, this picture is going to persist even this year, except for, they said, Jigawa, Kano, and Katsina states. The rain is likely going to cease earlier than normal, which means maybe towards the end of the second week of September, maybe. That is when it will cease. So that's the area of concern, and we need to advise our farmers. There's this bad news of early cessation in most places. But the flood, as predicted, going to be still around the usual places in the year between August and September. August and September. The only advice around this is all low-lying places should be planted with those crops that can withstand high precipitation like.
The Nigerian Customs Service says it lost over 400 billion naira from its 3 trillion naira target for 2022 due to fragile borders. Comptroller General of the service, Hamid Ali, disclosed this at the briefing to mark the end of the World Customs Organization Global Conference on Fragile Borders held in Abuja. Noel Sampson has more.
The conference hosted by Nigeria Customs Service in Abuja had the theme, Enabling Customs in Fragile and Conflict-Affected Situations. The Comptroller General of the service, Hamid Ali, said the conference became imperative to address issues that limit the service from meeting set targets, adding that one of such issues is fragile borders.
Our customs men and women are exposed to these dangers. As of today, if we go to some part of Borno State, customs is not operating because it has been declared fragile. It's under the military because of detention there. So these are the type of things that we look at globally and see how can customs be allowed to function under those type of circumstances. For instance, there's war in Ukraine, which has now destroyed the borders. So how does customs still maintain the supply chain? This is our job, and that's what the Secretary General said. If we do not have security, there will not be facility of trade. You cannot facilitate trade. And if you cannot facilitate trade, then it means that there will be no movement of goods and services. So what role can customs play, and how can customs be part of the global solution to this.
Secretary General of the World Customs Organization Action, Kuniya Mukuriya, assured that modalities have been put in place to ensure that issues around the fragile nature of borders worldwide are addressed.
Here in Abuja, we agreed on new action plan for this customs role in fragile and conflict-affected situations. And we will consult with the WCO's 184 members. And then next June, we have a global council and annual council session. We adopt and identify the way forward for global customer community to address this critical issue. Because without security, customer cannot collect revenue. Without the security, customer cannot facilitate trade. So this is what we agreed.
Nigerians are hopeful that resolution at the conference will lead to less border fragility in the years ahead. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll be back after the break.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Media Trust Group, in collaboration with the Center for Democracy and Development, presents the 2023 Kano gubernatorial debate, featuring candidates of 4 major political parties: Nasir Yusuf Gawuna of the APC, Bashir Ishaq Bashir of the Labour Party, Abba Kabir Yusuf of the NMPP, and Muhammad Abacha of the PDP. Date: Saturday, 4th February 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: Bayer University Kano New Site. The event is strictly by invitation and no political supporters are expected at the venue.
I will be there. I will be there. I will be there.
Media partners: Express Radio 90.3 FM, Nasara Radio 98.5 FM, Freedom Radio, and ARTV Kano. The debate will be broadcast live on Trust TV and other channels across the country.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
A Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. Let's now join Chiamaka Nwafo for business news.
Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says she is shocked by the recent downgrade of Nigeria's credit rating by Moody's Investors Service, a US-based rating agency. Last weekend, Moody's had downgraded Nigeria's credit rating from B3 to CAA1, saying the government's fiscal and debt position was expected to continue to deteriorate. Following Moody's downgrade, Nigeria's government bonds were on Monday dumped at its fastest pace in 3 months. Speaking with journalists in Abuja on Thursday, Ahmed said the downgrade was surprising. She explained that despite presenting evidence of the government's efforts to stabilize the economy, the rating did not reflect a proper understanding of the domestic economy. Ahmed encouraged Nigerians to look forward to S&P's rating due for release on Friday, adding that it is expected to present a better outlook for Nigeria. The planned repair of the Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company KRPC Limited by the state oil firm Nigerian National Petroleum Company NNPC Limited is expected to restore it to a minimum of 60% of its nameplate capacity by the fourth quarter of 2024. According to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the project will be in 3 work packages as a maintenance services contract by Daewoo E&C Nigeria Limited at an estimated maximum cost ceiling of $740.7 million for a duration of 21 months. Downstream Executive Vice President of NNPCL, Adeyemi Adetunji, said at the contract signing ceremony that the quick fix strategy guarantees the fastest route to restreaming the Warri Refining and Petrochemicals Company Limited, WRPC, and the Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Limited for in-country production of refined petroleum products. Adetunji said the NNPC is using a combination of internally generated revenue and third-party financing to execute the refinery's repairs. And in stocks, the Nigerian exchange NGX closed positive amidst buy interest and sell-offs as bulls dominated proceedings, driving up the broad market. The all-share index ASI appreciated by 0.93% to close at 53,998.12 points. In the same vein, market capitalization grew by 272 billion naira to close at 29.411 trillion naira, while the year-to-date returns settled at 4.65%. The stock market has advanced by 2,402.46 basis points since the start of the year. Market break closed positive as MRS led 27 gainers and 12 losers, topped by Sonusor at the end of Thursday's session. On aggregate, 2.8 million units of shares valued at 8.06 billion naira were traded in 3,940 deals. And that's it on business news. I am Chiamaka Mwafo.
On the foreign scene, Pope Francis has urged young people in the Democratic Republic of Congo to forge a new future without the ethnic rivalry, corruption and distrust that has fueled many bloodied conflicts in Africa. He was addressing more than 65,000 youths on Thursday at Mater Stadium in the capital, Kinshasa. Francis spoke of forgiveness and reconciliation, themes that have dominated his visit to the country where armed conflict has killed and displaced millions of people over the past decades. Thursday's speech focused on what he called ingredients of the future and struck a more hopeful tone than his previous ones as he spoke of potential new horizons for the country. The eastern region has been plagued by violence connected to the long and complex fallout from the 1994 genocide in neighboring Rwanda, which played out along ethnic fault lines. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen arrived in Kiev with a team of commissioners on Thursday, a day before Ukraine-European Union summit in the war-torn country. Her trip comes as rescue efforts continued in the eastern city of Kramatorsk after a Russian rocket attack on a residential building killed at least 3. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Thursday that Russian forces would respond to the delivery of longer-range Western weapons to Kyiv by trying to push Ukrainian forces further away from its borders to create a safe buffer zone. Meanwhile, Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Rezkinov says a major new Russian offensive could begin around the symbolically important date of February 24, which marks the anniversary of the initial invasion last year. Moving to sports, France centre-back Raphael Varane, a World Cup winner in 2018 and runner-up last year, announced Thursday his retirement from international duty at the age of 29. The Manchester United defender, who made his France debut in 2013 and won 93 caps for Le Bleu, has been in the run-in to take over as captain following the retirement of Hugo Lloris last month. Varane's decision to call time on his France career leaves Kylian Mbappe as the front-runner for the captaincy, with Didier Deschamps' side set to begin Euro 2024 qualifying at the end of March with a double-header against the Netherlands and the Republic of Ireland. The former Real Madrid star played every minute of his country's triumphant 2018 World Cup campaign as France defeated Croatia 4-2 in the final and was one of 5 French players who also started the 2022 final defeat by Argentina on penalties. Deschamps paid tribute to Varane praised him for the leadership qualities he had brought to the team throughout his time with France. Let's now join Adeni Ajishafe for more sports news.
The much-awaited international friendly match between Nigeria's Flying Eagles and Junior Shitipolo Polo of Zambia has been brought forward. The two teams agreed to have a warm-up game as part of efforts to intensify their readiness for the 2023 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. According to the update from the Flying Eagles media, the date for the game is now Friday, 3rd of February, 2023 at MKO Abiola Stadium, Abuja. The friendly initially scheduled for Saturday, 4th of February, but has to be changed due to some logistics reasons. The Under-20 AFCON will kick off on 19th February in Egypt. And still on football, African Soccer Ruling Body CAF has conducted draws for the 2023 Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. In the draws, Nigeria's Golden Eagles are to compete with Morocco, South Africa and Zambia in Group B. 12 countries qualified to compete in the tournament slated to hold in Algeria. Nigeria's Golden Eagles, the most successful in the competition, qualified to play in Algeria after they emerged winner of the WAFU B tournament in Ghana. Five-time world champions, Nigeria must successfully negotiate a tricky Group B that includes Morocco, South Africa and Zambia in order to be eligible for a spot at this year's FIFA Under-17 World Cup Finals in Peru. At the draw ceremony conducted inside the Circle National Dame in Algiers on Wednesday, host nation Algeria bat in Group A and will be in contention with Senegal, Congo and Somalia. Cameroon, Mali, Burkina Faso and South Sudan make up Group C. Nigeria, who are champions of WAFU B zone and are coached by former Nigerian FIFA World Cup winner Nduka Ugbade, will contest their games in the city of Constantine. Group A will play in Algiers, while Annaba will welcome the teams in Group C. All four top-placed teams at the tournament now scheduled for 29 April to 19th May will qualify to fly Africa's flag at the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Peru later in 2023. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajisafe.
And with that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Dashan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.